Most people own between 10 and 20 houseplants over the course of their lifetime. They buy them, they kill them, they buy new ones. They spend money on soil amendments and fertilizers and grow lights, and still end up with brown leaves and dead stems. And then there are botanists, people who have spent decades studying plants professionally, their biology, their chemistry, and how they interact with human environments. And when you ask them which plants they actually keep in their own homes, the list is surprisingly short. Not because they don't know about rare species or exotic varieties, they know more about those than anyone, but because after years of study, they've identified a small group of plants that do something genuinely useful, that earn their place in a home, not just aesthetically, but functionally. In this video, I'm going through the 5 plants that come up again and again when botanists and plant scientists talk about what they actually grow indoors, what each one does, why it works, and what most people get wrong about them. Let's start with the one that does something at night that almost no other plant does. Number 1. The snake plant, Dracæna trifasciata. Most plants absorb carbon dioxide and release oxygen during the day through photosynthesis, and then reverse that process at night. They consume oxygen while you sleep, which is why the old advice to remove plants from bedrooms existed. The snake plant is one of a small group of plants that operates on a different biological schedule. It uses a photosynthetic pathway called crassulacean acid metabolism, known as KM, which means it absorbs carbon dioxide at night and releases oxygen while you sleep. It is, in a very literal sense, the ideal bedroom plant. Beyond that, the snake plant appeared in NASA's landmark 1989 Clean Air Study, a research project designed to identify plants capable of removing volatile organic compounds from enclosed spaces. The study found it capable of filtering formaldehyde, benzene, and trichloroethylene, compounds that off-gas from furniture, flooring, paint, and cleaning products in virtually every home. The caveat most people do not mention is that the NASA study was conducted in sealed, controlled chambers, not open living spaces. The effect in a typical room is real, but smaller than the headlines suggest. You would need multiple plants per room to produce a measurable impact on air quality. But the underlying biology is genuine, and the snake plant remains one of the most studied and validated air filtering plants available. Care requirements are almost none. Low light, infrequent watering, and it tolerates neglect. It is the plant botanists recommend first to people who insist they cannot keep anything alive, because almost no one can kill it. Cost is $10 to $40 depending on size and variety. Number 2. Aloe Vera. Ancient, clinically proven healing gel. This one has been used by humans for documented medicinal purposes for over 6,000 years. Ancient Egyptian records describe it as the plant of immortality. It appeared in the medical texts of ancient Greece, Rome, and China. Modern dermatological research has confirmed what those civilizations understood empirically. The gel inside its leaves has genuine biological activity. The clear gel contained in aloe vera leaves is approximately 99% water. The remaining 1% contains a complex mixture of polysaccharides, glycoproteins, anthraquinones, and vitamins. Compounds that have demonstrated anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, and wound-healing properties in clinical studies. For minor burns, sunburn, skin irritation, and superficial wounds, the evidence base is strong enough that it appears in medical literature, not just wellness blogs. Growing it indoors is straightforward. It prefers bright, indirect light and needs almost no water. Once every 2 to 3 weeks is typically sufficient, and it suffers from overwatering, which is the most common mistake. It stores water in its thick leaves and draws on those reserves between waterings. Soggy soil causes root rot quickly. One plant on a kitchen windowsill gives you immediate access to fresh gel whenever you need it. That functional utility, something you can actually use, is what puts aloe vera on every botanist's shortlist. Cost is $5 to $20 for a healthy specimen. It also propagates freely by producing offshoots called pups at its base, which you can separate and pot independently. One plant becomes many. Number 3. Peace Lily Spathiphyllum. The peace lily has a specific talent that makes it invaluable in a home environment. It is one of the most sensitive and reliable humidity indicators available. When the air in a room becomes genuinely dry, the kind of dry that affects respiratory health, wood furniture, and skin, the peace lily responds before you notice any other symptom. Its leaves begin to droop slightly at the tips. It is not distress, it is communication. The plant is telling you the environment has changed before your body registers the discomfort. Beyond that signal function, the peace lily also appeared in the NASA Clean Air Study and showed strong performance in filtering ammonia, a compound that enters homes through cleaning products, and some building materials, as well as benzene and formaldehyde. Among the plants in that study, it was one of the strongest overall performers. It also blooms indoors with very little encouragement. The white spathe flowers, elegant, minimalist, architectural, appear in spring and sometimes again in autumn, making it one of the few indoor plants that earns its aesthetic place year-round through both foliage and flower. One important note: the peace lily is toxic to cats and dogs. If you have pets, this one requires careful placement or substitution. Care: low to medium indirect light. Water when the top inch of soil is dry. It tolerates lower light than most flowering plants, which makes it genuinely useful in the interior rooms without window access. Cost $15 to $35. Number 4. Lavender. Every other plant on this list is tropical or subtropical in origin. Lavender is the exception, and it earns its place for reasons that go beyond aesthetics. The scent compound responsible for lavender's characteristic fragrance is linalool. It is one of the most studied aromatic compounds in psychopharmacology. Multiple peer-reviewed studies have found statistically significant effects on anxiety levels, sleep quality, and cortisol markers in human subjects exposed to linalool at low concentrations, the kind of concentrations produced by a live lavender plant in a small room. A study published in 2015 in the journal Phytomedicine found that lavender aromatherapy produced measurable reductions in anxiety comparable to low-dose pharmaceutical anxiolytics in certain populations. The mechanism is not fully understood, but the effect is documented enough to take seriously. Growing lavender indoors is more demanding than the other plants on this list. It requires direct sunlight, a minimum of 4 hours per day, and excellent drainage. It will not survive in low light or consistently moist soil. Placed in a south-facing window, it will grow, bloom, and release fragrance passively into the room, without any intervention beyond basic watering. The functional case for a lavender plant in a bedroom or home office, based on documented biology, rather than wellness marketing, is genuinely strong. Cost $8 to $20 at most garden centers. Replace annually or cut back aggressively after flowering to extend its productive life. Number 5. Pothos, Epipremnum aureum. The last plant on this list is also the most underrated. Pothos is so common, so cheap, and so easy to find that most people treat it as a beginner's placeholder, something you grow until you are ready for something more interesting. Botanists see it differently. Pothos appeared in the NASA study and showed strong performance filtering formaldehyde, one of the most common volatile organic compounds in home environments. Formaldehyde is released by pressed wood furniture, carpets, and adhesives. More recent research has continued to confirm its air filtering capacity, and a 2022 study from the University of Washington demonstrated that a genetically modified version of Pothos could remove chloroform and benzene from air at dramatically accelerated rates, suggesting the plant has biological mechanisms for processing these compounds that scientists are only beginning to understand. But the practical case for Pothos is simpler. It is genuinely indestructible. It tolerates low light, irregular watering, temperature variation, and neglect that would kill everything else on this list. It grows fast, producing long trailing vines that can extend several feet, and it propagates in water with almost no effort. Cut a stem below a node, place it in a glass of water, and roots appear within 1 to 2 weeks. That combination documented functional value, zero maintenance, and free propagation is why botanists who study dozens of exotic species still keep Pothos on their windowsills. Cost: $5 to $15. One plant propagated repeatedly can fill an entire home for free. So here's what these 5 plants have in common. They are not the rarest plants. They are not the most expensive. They are not the most visually dramatic. What they share is documented utility. Each one does something measurable for the environment you live in, beyond simply being green and alive. The snake plant oxygenates your bedroom at night. Aloe Vera gives you a functional medicinal resource on your windowsill. The peace lily signals environmental changes before you feel them. Lavender has a documented biological effect on stress and sleep, and Pothos filters the air while asking almost nothing in return. 5 plants, 5 functions. All of them are available at any garden center for under $40. If you want to go further and learn how to arrange these 5 together for maximum visual and functional impact, that is exactly what I cover in the next video. See you there.